Welcome to a new episode of Dumb Guys talking about fantasy football. This is for the 2017-2018 fantasy football season. And here we go. Heath is going to take us away.
Yes, and our first fantasy football video was super early. And I'd say
deep.
Throw that video out because that was just to start the conversation and start our research. That was before the draft even happened.
That was really early. And
this
is early too.
This is early too.
But
so a lot of these players,
really early.
Yes, a lot of these players were kind of starting a discussion here. Well, these aren't our final lists, but here's some sleepers. I also mentioned a sleeper that's on all the sleeper lists, but I'm not that high on him. But let's get the conversation started. And I'll just throw out the first name, and it's O.J. Howard. He's a tight end. He's a rookie for Tampa Bay. And one reason I like him is I think Tampa Bay is going to do great this year. They got a young quarterback that's developing. I think he'll be in his third year in Winston. And I think that they're going to have a good, diverse offense. Now, this isn't a guy to pick up and stick him in your starting lineup the first week. It's a guy to pick up and then wait for him to win the starting job a few weeks in, and then for him to take off because of his huge talent. He's 6'6", so he kind of reminds me of Jimmy Graham, where he's a giant tight end that has a huge reach. So they'll be thrown to him for touchdowns, things like that. When it's a tight, congested area, they'll be looking for him to be standing above the crowd.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, where in the draft do you take tight ends?
Pretty
Deep? Or
right now, I go pretty deep because I don't like Gronkowski. He's always hurt.
Yeah.
Reed, there's so much turnover going on in Washington right now. I think I wait, take a good starter, maybe a Delaney Walker, somebody like that, and then also pick up this Howard to be like the backup.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody like that.
I've got a tight end on my list, but I'm going to wait a little bit to bring him out. So, the guy on my list now, by no means is this guy a sleeper.
Yeah.
Was he the first draft pick in the draft this year? Fournette?
No, that would have been like David Johnson or Le'Veon Bell.
Okay, anyways. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Fournette is on my list here. And the reason he's on my list, I know he's ranked pretty high. I think he's around 23 right now. He's number 12 for running backs. So you can see running backs are ranked really high.
Yeah.
But this could be a top 10 running back this year. This rookie coming into the league, he's going to get a heavy workload, and this guy's got the talent. So there's a possibility that this guy could be,
Oh, you're talking actual NFL draft.
Yes, NFL draft.
He was like 4th or 5th, I believe.
Okay, he was really high in the NFL draft, yes.
I think
we haven't
first
had our
player.
fantasy football draft yet. That's not for many months.
Yeah, so not first in fantasy football.
Yes, no.
He was high in the real
draft.
High
in the real NFL draft, yes. He was up there, and he's going to be a difference maker. And right now, ranked at 23, that's third round. And I know fantasy football people who are going to be swooping this guy up in the first round.
Yeah, I think there's going to be somebody in a lot of leagues that goes, this guy's going to be good and take him way too early.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that guy in your league, you can grab this guy up.
Right.
And he falls to a reasonable spot.
Yeah.
I'm a 49ers fan. I was actually hoping, he's one of the guys that I was hoping the 49ers got. I'm glad they got the Solomon Thomas like they did, but I would have been happy if they got Fournette too.
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
So I think it's my turn. Now here's a kind of a controversial pick because I think this is going to be split right down the middle whether you think he's going to be a sleeper or a bust. And that's Todd Gurley. He's a running back on the Rams. And so what it is that great rookie season, like 1,200 yards, then falls off to 800 yards the next year. And there's going to be a lot of fantasy owners that are upset with him because they're hoping for that 1,200 yards or more, and they didn't get that. He's also risky because the Rams aren't going to be the greatest offense. They had the rookie quarterback last year. They have a new coach, but I think this guy's can only go up. I don't think he's going to be like that Trent Richardson that had their good rookie season that was never good again. I think you will see some performance out of him, and just watch your draft. See if everyone else is just frustrated with him or not willing to take the risk. He might fall to a reasonable spot for you to grab him up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the next guy on my list, I'm sticking with the running back theme here because all of the good ones are going to get swooped up early. So you just know that. And that's Dalvin Cook. So you've got, what's his name? Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
He's gone. He's no longer in Minnesota. Now, there is kind of a logjam in Minnesota. I think they've got two guys ahead of him in the depth chart. Latavius Murray, who I think they just traded for, and Jerick McKinnon. But the word is that this guy is going to he's going to come out of spring training. He's going to be the number one running back, and he's going to basically be the guy at the goal line.
I think you called football spring training.
Oh,
That's a baseball term.
sorry. What is that called in
It's
football?
just the
It's
team
preseason.
workouts, preseason.
Preseason.
Yeah. Come out of the preseason.
Yes,
It's not in spring in football.
Yeah, that's right. It's fall.
Yeah, we're still mid-swing baseball,
Yeah,
so it's
right.
very
It's
early
like the
to talk-
we haven't even
talking
seen the
baseball.
All-Star break in
Yeah.
baseball yet. So
we're already
yes,
talking football.
I've got to shift gears
Yeah.
to football.
Yes,
Uh,
so yeah, a guy like this could be good if you have a good feeling that he's going to win that starting job eventually.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you could-
and he's going pretty deep. He's 60. He's ranked 67 right now. So you can get him in like the seventh round.
a great bench player to maybe he's a starter by the end of the
Yeah,
day.
you wait and kind of see what happens.
All right, so I'm going now with the only quarterback I've got on my list, and it's Carson Wentz. It's the guy I had last year, but they added a couple nice receivers for him. He already had a decent year for a rookie quarterback. He had a nice tight end to throw to in Ertz, but they added Torrey Smith and Alshon Jeffrey, and I think that's going to make him have a full complement of nice, good receivers to throw to. He'll have some confidence in having already have his rookie season behind him. He's in a pretty good organization in the Eagles. I think he's a great one if you feel like you've got to take like running backs, wide receivers early and wait on quarterback. Let everybody else grab up the big names like the Brees and the Brady. Wentz could be that guy to fall back on.
Where's he going in the draft?
I think he's about the 15th or so rated quarterback.
15th ranked.
Yeah, so it
quarterback.
depends on your points work where quarterbacks are going.
Yeah.
We're probably going to be PPR. We have some guys in our league that like quarterbacks and take.
Yeah.
Aaron
But
Rodgers
we're-
typically goes the first round.
But we're going to switch our league up a little bit. So we've been
Yeah,
playing
yes.
in a 2 quarterback league. So you can put a quarterback in your flex spot. We're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to change how quickly these quarterbacks go because it's going to be real deep.
It could be, but there's typically that guy that's got to have Aaron Rodgers in the first
Yeah.
round.
Well.
And if you're not that guy, and then if you think Breeze and Brady are too old, Wentz type of
Yeah.
guy you can fall back on.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, it's the perfect time here. I've got a guy on my list who was the number 7 fantasy quarterback in 2014 and 2015. This guy had a down year last year, but there's a good possibility he bounces back. That's Eli Manning. Now, some people say maybe he's too old, maybe he's washed up, maybe he's not Peyton. I don't know. But what this guy did back in 2014 and 2015, which is only really one season removed, 4,400 yards, 30 touchdowns a season. He's got the addition of Brandon Marshall to go with Beckham and Shepard, so he's got a better receiving class this year. So, maybe a guy to keep your eye on when you're talking about quarterbacks. If he steps up and performs like a number 7 fantasy quarterback, going way down at 173, that's going to add a lot of value to your team.
Good. I think I'm going to avoid Eli Manning. One thing, he was whiny when he was picked in the draft, the real draft. He's refused to play on the Chargers, so I don't like him for that.
Look,
But-
he might be a whiny bitch, but he's going to be a point getter in fantasy football.
We'll see. I think he's been very frustrating for some owners in the past. We have a guy that had him last year. I think will tell you he'll never touch him again.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll
Well,
see.
and
that's the thing.
last year was a very disappointing
Yeah.
season for him. But go back and look at the previous 2 years, and you'll see a guy who you'd be relying on as a pretty high up quarterback. So
Yeah.
there's a chance.
Yeah, we'll see.
For a deep pick.
We'll see if he ends up on your team next year.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, so my next pick here is Isaiah Crowell. He's a running back on the Browns. Now, I know it's risky to take an offensive player on such a bad team. They had 1 win last year. They were pretty bad. But the Browns spent a lot of money on their offensive line, and some people are saying they might have one of the best offensive lines in football now.
Huh?
And they don't have a great quarterback, so I think the beneficiary of that great offensive line will be this running back Crowell. He had 950 yards rushing last year, and so improving is going up over 1,000 yards. He will go in a decent spot. Everybody will be clamoring for those top 5 guys. This guy will be a much lower guy, and I do acknowledge the risk of the bad team, but I think the offensive line, they're going to be rushing to try and get field goals. They're not going to be a run and gun Drew Brees style Saints team,
Right.
But they're going to be a emerging young team with a great offensive line and this young
Who's the
running
QB?
back. Oh God, I don't even know. Who cares on the Browns?
Right.
They didn't draft one. They took Garrett, a defensive player. So
Yeah.
they're probably going to be intending to get a new quarterback next year.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, as you're going to notice here, I'm pretty running back heavy on my list. I think you've probably got several running backs
Yeah.
on your list too. My next one is a running back. It's Kenneth Dixon. And this guy was a little bit higher up the ranks before his suspension. He was suspended 4 games, I think, for performance-enhancing drugs, which I guess, I don't know, do they take those very seriously in football?
Well, there's something to penalize.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, running back on steroids would be awfully scary to have running you over.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, this guy, he's got a lot of opportunity, and because of the suspension, you might be able to pull him deep, put him on your bench, wait those 4 games, then stick him in when he takes over the starting job, and he could provide a boost for you, mid-season or early mid-season.
Yeah. So now I've got a receiver that I'm actually thinking he could come out of nowhere and be huge this year, and that's Josh Doxson. He's a wide receiver on the Redskins. I'm sure I'm probably not saying his name right. It looks like, if you sound it out, that's how it looks like you're supposed to say it. Doxson.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
But
we're terrible at pronouncing
we are.
names.
And also, we're not... we're box score watchers and we're internet sports guys.
Yes.
We cut the cord, so we're not really hearing the announcers pronounce the names.
You're watching a channel called Dumb Guys. What do you expect? We can't say names.
Yes. But another guy we're going to talk about later, Garcon, left the Redskins. Deshaun Jackson left the Redskins. The Redskins still have Kirk Cousins right now, who's a great deep throwing quarterback. I think the beneficiary could very well be Josh Doxson. He's the guy left behind. He only had 2 catches last year because of injuries. But he was into the first-round pick, so he's a first-round talent on a team with a great deep-throwing quarterback that just lost 2 top-notch receivers. So I think he's the beneficiary. He's going to grab up a lot of yards.
A lot of targets.
Yeah, a lot of targets.
A lot of deep catches.
Yes. Kirk Cousins was one of the best deep-throwing quarterbacks last year. He was super accurate throwing it deep.
Right.
So I think this guy's going to be really really benefit from the opportunity here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sounds like a good opportunity. Where's he going in the draft?
Awfully late. I think he's kind of going up the ranks, and I think by the time the season starts, the cat might be out of the bag, and he's not a sleeper anymore, and he'll be up there with the 30th type, 4th round, 5th round type picks. Yeah. But right now, I think he's ranked quite a bit deeper.
He's pretty low. Yeah, that's the thing with these rankings right now, so early, is that they're bound to change. As preseason starts, not spring training. Yeah. Preseason starts, and you start to see these guys perform, and you start to see, the depth chart switching a little bit, and guys taking over roles. Those rankings are going to really change.
Well, plus all your buddies are going to be thinking about last year, and they're going to start picking up on the young guys that are going to be up and coming.
Yeah,
and then by the time you actually go pick, the guys in your league are going to know about them as well.
Well, and the thing that I like about fantasy football, because all of the football players' careers are much shorter than baseball. These rookies come onto the playing field and they're a difference maker.
Yeah.
So it's not like baseball where if it's once in a while you get a rookie who's really going to change the game. Fantasy football, those rookies make a difference right away, and you got to target them. You got to know what's going on.
And it can make up for if you didn't get that number 1 pick. You got the breakout dude.
Exactly. That's happened many times, I think, in the past. Okay, well, the next guy on my list, I'm piggybacking on my previous pick, which was Dixon. Now I'm going with the guy who's probably going to get the carries in his absence when he's suspended, and that's Terrence West. Which there's a possibility that if he does well in those 4 games, that he could steal that job from Dixon. So it's, you got that kind of back and forth opportunity there. 2 guys that are going deep. One of them's gonna win that job out, and you could get them both. And I think that West he's the guy that's targeted to take the goal line carries. So he could be scoring all the touchdowns.
So you're recommending having both of them on your team?
I'm just saying these are a couple options. It depends on what you think. If you think Dixon is going to come in after his suspension and he's gonna, he's really gonna dominate and he's gonna be the guy, swoop him up. But if you don't think he's gonna do good, get instant gratification with West, who's gonna get the carries, and then go from there.
Yeah.
So options.
We're giving you guys options. That's what we do.
That's what this is. I'm just throwing it out there. You make the decision.
Yes.
And then tell me what to do. Come on. Give me some tips.
Yeah. We actually learn a lot about making our teams better from the comments we get and tell us how dumb we were and who the better picks are.
Absolutely.
So I have another wide receiver to talk about next. His name is Michael Thomas. He's on the Saints. He had a great rookie season, right about 1,200 receiving yards. I saw him ranked as high as 3rd round already, so he's not a super like unknown sleeper, but he's just going to be in his 2nd year. He's on a great offensive team in the Saints, so you could see, where he's going to fall in your league. And it's another one of those guys. He's only been around for 1 year, so if you're in a league full of guys that are super reminiscent, more into drafting guys that are more steady and have more of a track record, this guy could fall down to a reasonable spot for you. So, and who knows how high he could go with Drew Brees thrown to him. I mean, he could be one of the top receivers next year.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Big surprise. Got a running back here on my list. Next guy I got is Kareem Hunt. Now, I believe this guy he doesn't have the starting job yet. I think Spencer Ware has a starting job over there. The thing is, though, is that he could steal this job from him. He's a rookie, so he's coming into the league here. 4 years in college, 5,000 yards, 44 touchdown. That's some pretty good performance there. So I put him on the list because it's one of those things where you could take him deep, you could hold on to him, and then if he does swoop in and steal Ware's position, there you go. You got yourself a golden ticket.
Yeah, it's the Chiefs, by the way.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
These guys are filling the void left by Jamal Charles.
Yes.
We have some bitterness about Jamal Charles in a trade that happened. But that's a story for another time. But anyway, yeah, those guys have, this team's obviously shown that they run. So there's going to be a void there, so watch whoever takes over.
Yeah.
All right, where did I leave off? Oh, I think this is the one guy we both picked up on our list.
Yeah, just in time, too. We both have him right here at number 7.
Yes, and that's Pierre Garçon. And I put him here because I'm a 49ers fan. It's been years since I've been able to have a 49er on my team. I might be looking to grab this guy up just to have somebody to truly root for.
If you can get him before I do.
Yeah, maybe. But I think with Shanahan running the offense there, he'll be the featured running receiver. And even though he might not be the most talented guy in the world, he's still a very good receiver, has a good track record. He'll be good enough to be like a wide receiver 3 for you, a flex spot option for you. And I think he'll catch a lot of passes, be a good PPR league option.
Yeah. Well, I think he's definitely going to be a good PPR league option because he's going to get all the targets, basically.
Yeah.
So every pass that the San Francisco 49ers throw is going to go to this guy. Now, you've got him down at a wide receiver 3, and I think he's higher than that. I think he's going to do much better. And him and Shanahan have worked together before. And you're right, he's going to be the featured wide receiver. So he's going to get a lot of action over there in San Francisco where nothing else is going on. It's just him.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how well he does.
I can't wait to have him on my roster and have you rooting for me.
Oh, God. All right, I'll move on to the next one.
Was it your turn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we kind of
That's okay. We shared
a turn.
We shared Garcon, but we won't during the season.
Yes. So the next one is Bill Powell. He's a running back in the Jets. And now I don't have him here necessarily totally sponsoring him or saying you should get him. I have him here because he's like on almost every sleepers list. Some guy you guys are curious about him.
Right.
The problem I have with him is he's about 27, 28 years old. He's been in the league for a while, and his best years last year with about 700 rushing yards. And I just don't see where the breakout will come out of the blue with this guy. He has to compete with Forte. Now, Forte is old. Everyone's expecting him to drop off and Powell to become the more featured guy. But, starting the year competing with Forte, being on a team like the Jets that isn't all that great, and, he's pretty well advanced in years for an NFL running back. I'm just not seeing why he's on so many sleeper lists and why everyone thinks out of the blue he's going to break out this year.
Yeah. It's interesting because our lists seem to line up even though we didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
Because I have Quincy Enunwa on my list right here, and he is a wide receiver for the Jets. And, there's what I've read on this guy and what I've uncovered is that a lot of people have the same hesitation that you do, is that the Jets aren't that good. But what this guy is going to do is he's got a spot wide open there with Marshall moving over to the Giants. He's now going to get a lot of catches. He had a breakout 2016. So look for this guy to have about 120 targets in 2017. So a lot of targets, a lot of catches, PPR league, could be good. And, you know, if he has another good year like he had last year, I think I said 1,200 yards or something like that. It was good.
Yeah, and you'll see a theme that we're talking about PPR because that's what our league was last year and probably will be.
That's
this
probably
year.
what we're going to do this year.
Yeah. So I think after my pick, you're going to have to go twice because I'm at the end. And my last guy to throw out there is Marshawn Lynch. Now, this guy isn't really a sleeper. Everybody knows about Marshawn Lynch.
Right.
He's missed he retired.
Wait, where's he going to go play?
The Raiders.
Oh, what's this?
Yeah. He wore the shirt that's appropriate.
I geared up for this. I didn't even know.
Now, the reason I throw him on there is because I just think he's going to be super entertaining to watch. And I think it's fun to have guys on your team that are fun to watch on TV.
Well, I know Marshawn Lynch was you know, a legitimate running back a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think he always had some injury concerns.
He did.
What are we looking at now?
Well, he's had a year off. All those things have recovered for a year. He's one of those bruiser type running backs where he runs guys over. And the Raiders have kind of a strategy of just give it to the running back in the red zone and let him run guys over and get a touchdown.
So you think a lot of touchdowns?
I think they're going to go to him in the red zone and go for touchdowns. I think Carr maybe a little bit overrated as a quarterback. They might have to fall back on Lynch a little bit. I don't necessarily think he's going to lead the league in rushing or anything like that, but he might fall a little bit in your drafts just because, and you might get some nice touchdowns out of him. It'll be entertaining to watch. I think you could, maybe if your commissioner gives you points for funny interviews, you could be a lot of points because basically how he just sits there and doesn't answer questions is pretty hilarious. But I'd say,
where's he going in the draft?
I actually saw several lists where he wasn't even ranked.
Really?
Probably
because he doesn't have any stats from last year.
Yeah, it doesn't have any stats from last year, and probably like they made some of those lists before they really could figure out how much the Raiders are going to use him.
Yeah.
Right. But it's one of those things. Just watch your draft. He's going to have ranks.
But he's still a relevant running back.
Still a relevant running back. He'll still probably be taken fairly high. My guess, second, third round, around that range. Especially in leagues where like first 3 rounds are all running backs.
Yeah.
Our PPR maybe 4th round he'll fall to, but I would say just if you want to roll the dice with him and have fun watching him, pick him up.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I remember he burned me a couple years ago. I think he was hurt for me.
Yeah, I think his last year in Seattle was kind of.
I think I took him pretty high and he was hurt. And he's a bastard. And he gives bad interviews. So
he gives bad interviews. He did play video games with Conan O'Brien. So
well, that might be
kind of entertaining.
Yeah, a little something. All right. Well, I do have 2 more guys on my list because I guess I went a little crazy. Here's my tight end, the one that I was going to throw out there. The one tight end that I've got on this list, Jack Doyle. He's way down there. He's real deep. He's going to be the number 1 tight end with Dwayne Allen out. He had a breakout last year. So he might be a good steal for you deep at the tight end. I think he's a little bit older as well.
It looks like he started 14 games last year out of the blue. So
yeah. So how old is he?
26.
26. Okay.
That's ancient for football. No, not really, but
no.
still.
Well, he's not the guy I was thinking of. I was thinking of another guy. So.
Well, yeah, he had 580 yards. That's decent for
a tight end.
For tight end, yeah.
Yeah. Well.
5 touchdowns.
He's going deep, and you know what? Just give this guy a shot, and he's going to go out there and he's going to score some points.
Yeah, this whole tight end class, even if you take a top one like Gronkowski, you got to have a backup.
Right.
So you're going to
that's
end
the
up
thing
with a guy like this.
With tight ends, it seems like you're always dropping them and picking them up all season long. So this is just a guy to keep your eye on through the season.
Yeah.
And then the very last one on my list, this guy's really deep as well at 167 overall, and that's Tavon Austin. And he's coming off of an injury, but he's supposed to be ready for the season. He's going to miss some of the preseason, I think, but he's supposed to be ready for the season. And what I've heard about this guy is this guy's got a lot of speed, but his speed hasn't been used. They haven't been running him in the right route. And now he's teaming up with the coaching staff with the Rams that really have a plan to use this guy's speed. So this guy could also be a difference maker and a deep pick.
Yeah. I mean, they got that number 1 pick at quarterback in Goff, and he can only be better than last year. So maybe you'll throw this guy some.
Right. So there we go.
There we go. We started a conversation. We're obviously very early in football, and we're still paying a lot of attention to baseball right now.
Yep, I got to shift gears, man. My brain's still stuck on it.
Stuck on baseball. Well,
yeah.
And it's kind of funny because people are kind of past watching baseball videos.
Right.
There's probably a lot of people have given up their teams already.
The season is deep, and they're either dead or they're in a
Yeah.
good spot. So
But it's time to start looking at football.
I
and
mean,
start
you
getting
really got to
prepared.
start planning.
Yeah,
You're,
you do.
if you don't want to be good, you got to start now.
Yeah.
Because and you got to keep it up. You got to keep looking at what these guys are doing, because if you look away for a month, the whole thing changes. The whole
Yeah.
landscape changes. So you got to keep your eyes on the prize.
Yes, and give us comments on who we should pick so we can improve our teams, and we'll talk about them in future videos if you put them down there.
That's right. Stay tuned, because we are hatching a plan here for another Dumb Guys giveaway.
Yes.
This one's going to be fantasy football related. So
Yeah, we did a Star Wars Rogue One giveaway.
Yep.
We sent that off. It was pretty successful.
Yep.
So we're going to try again.
yeah, we want to give away prizes. So keep watching. More to come on that. And I guess stay dumb.
Yes, dude.
Dumb guys!